Miss Toastmaster Swati. My name is Toastmaster Swati, and I will be the Sergeant at Arms for today's meeting. To officially start the meeting, I would like to remind everyone that this meeting will be recorded, and some parts of the meeting would be used for the promotional material later. In order to have a smooth meeting, we would follow some ground rules during the course of meeting. First, please put yourself on mute when you are not speaking. Second, don't interrupt anyone when someone is speaking. And if you have to move during the meeting, please put off your camera and then you can move. Third, please be mindful while addressing age, sex, religion, and politics, right? So fourth one is please be attentive throughout the meeting and uh, support and encourage our speakers by turning on your camera, warm smiles, and claps. Also, do use the Zoom reaction buttons to express yourself. So, as you're aware, everyone has a mission in life. And similarly, our Toastmaster Club also has a mission. So our Toastmaster Club mission is to provide mutually supportive environment so that each and every member of our club can develop themselves in the leadership and communication skills, which will help themselves to boost their self-confidence and personal growth. Now, every meeting has a theme, and today's theme is very interesting and worth knowing. It is mastering evaluation, and feedback and evaluation are an important aspect for anyone's personal growth because it will enhance your journey by 1,000 miles, right? And now I will introduce and welcome our presiding officer of the day, Toastmaster Tanmay. Toastmaster Tanmay is a senior analyst with Flipkart on weekdays and an explorer on weekends, either exploring the city or the new recommendations on OTT. He has been a Toastmaster since 2019 and has served as PR in area, division, and club. Currently, he is the president of our Speakers and Toastmaster Club. A big round of applause for Toastmaster Tanmay. Over to you, Toastmaster Tanmay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Swati, for starting the meeting on a high note, sending out positive energies throughout this meeting on a Sunday morning. A big round of applause for Silent House Toastmaster Swati. Good morning, everyone. May I request you to unmute yourself and just address everyone. Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, I hope it does remind you of the teachers coming in the morning and saying, where's the energy? Or your PA teacher, or the movie Uri. How's the Josh? Hi, sir. On this wonderful morning, on this occasion of 2nd October, a national holiday for us, and which accidentally fell on Sunday, so a bit disappointed at that as well. First of all, I would like to congratulate all of you on the birth anniversary of Father of the Nation, Dr. Mahatma Gandhi, and our second Prime Minister of India, Lal Bahadur Shastri, because he is the man who gave us the logo, Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, which was carried forward by his predecessors with Jai Jawan, Jai Kisan, Jai Vigyan. And today we are here for Jai Toastmasters. Today, this is a meeting, which is a very special meeting in itself because we just completed our 10th anniversary on the last weekend. So this makes our 10th anniversary and the first meeting after that, the meeting number 298, which I would like to open with a bang of the gavel. And absence of gavel, let me use my coffee mug. With this, the meeting number 298 is in session. We have our members joining in. We have a very special occasion today. So we have an educator with us who is going to give us educational session on mastering evaluations. But before that, before we move on to our education sessions and other sessions, before I hand it over to moderator, which is myself, I would like to connect with our guests who are joining today's meeting by taking out their time on a Sunday morning. May I request Srashti to please unmute herself and in 30 seconds answer me the 3 questions. First, something about yourself. Second, how do you get to know about this Speakers and Toastmasters Club? And third, what do you aspire to gain from Speakers and Toastmasters? Over to you, Srashti. Srashti, we are unable to hear you. I think you are double muted. Meanwhile, Srishti is checking her connection. Let me circle back to our another guest in today's meeting, Prajwala. Prajwala, can you please unmute yourself and if possible, come on camera? And I have the same 3 questions for you. Something about yourself. Second, how you get to know about
Tanmay, I
Toastmasters.
think
Oh, you are
I'm
traveling.
traveling. Yeah. I don't think so. Like some disturbance will be there. Actually, I'm traveling. I don't know like whether my
Oh, there is
network
no disturbance
supports.
actually. And there's no
Yeah.
noise as such. So you can take it short.
Yeah. Can you repeat your question?
Something about yourself. Tell me about yourself. Second, how you get
Uh,
to know about the speakers then, and what do you aspire from the Toastmasters Club?
no, actually, I'm a new member to Toastmaster. So I'm from Indomin Close Toastmaster Club. I work in Indomin. So I'm from Indomin. So
Okay.
I got to know this from our Toastmaster Vivek Sinde. He just sent me the link. I was traveling somewhere. I thought like simply sitting, no, like let me attend this session. So that's how I got to know this session and joined the session.
Thank you, Prajwala. A huge round of applause for the dedication of Toastmaster Prajwala for joining in while traveling, because she had the bandwidth and some free time for that.
Thank you.
Srishti, your
Tanmay,
internet
sorry.
connection is sorted? Yes, Prajwala. Thank you very much. Srishti, can you hear me? I think Srishti is still facing issues. Srishti, you can try resolving the issues. And meanwhile, let me introduce you to the newest member of the Den, Toastmaster Mansi, who is a dual member with Capital Den Toastmaster as well as Speakers Den Toastmaster. She is not new to Speakers Den because she has been a part of many of our meetings, but as a member, this is her first meeting. So let us join our hands to welcoming Toastmaster Mansi. Toastmaster, I believe that you are traveling right now. So if it's possible, can you please unmute yourself and come on camera to introduce yourself to the club as a member?
Thanks a lot. I'm not traveling. I hope my voice is clear. I just landed in Bangalore,
Oh, that's
and
awesome.
yeah, so it's not new to me being part of this club, and I'm happy to join you all. I also work as a senior business analyst with Alliance Technology, and today I'm here as a Toastmaster. I'll be playing the role of table topic master. Thanks, and over to you, Tanmay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mansi. Now, before moving on with our next session, so today our meeting would be divided into 2 sections. First is education session by Toastmaster Varun, who comes with a 7 years of experience in Toastmasters, and have served as a Division A director in the District 92, as well as the past A directors as well. With this, he has also taken executive committee roles in the club, which were president and the VP education. The second session would be our table topics to be conducted by Toastmaster Mansi. But before we start this meeting, let us come to the most important person in today's meeting, the timer. Timer Toastmaster Sanjay, can you please explain your role and give us a demonstration of the timer cards?
Sure. Yeah, good morning, everyone. And today I'm playing the role of a timer, which is like very crucial to kind of helping people understand like how to kind of where to limit their speeches and start concluding. So like Tanmay shared that we'll be having 2 sessions. Like one is the educator session where like Varun mentioned that like we'll have like 15, 20 and 25 minutes of breaks. Correct me if I'm wrong. And the last 5 minutes will be for answering questions if there are questions. And the second section would be the table topic menu, where every speaker would be given 1 to 2 minutes to speak with a 30 seconds of grace period. So, and I'll be flashing the timer cards, which I'll very soon demo, and so that people can understand like how to like from when to start concluding their speeches. So let me just give you a small demo. So I'll kind of just let me tag myself. So I'll tag myself so that I everybody can see me all the time. So once say for example it is a table topic mania, and once it's 1 minute, 1 minute is over, then I'll just change my background to green, right? So it'll look like this. And after 30 seconds, I will change it to yellow. And again, after 30 seconds, once 2 minutes are over, which is where you should ideally end your speech, I'll change it to red. And the same I would be doing in case of the education session also. I'll be flashing the green card at 15 minutes, the yellow card at 20 minutes, and the red card at 25 minutes. to hint to the speaker to kind of conclude and take actions accordingly. Thank you, and over to you, Tanmay.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sanjay, for introducing timing curves. And let me reiterate the timing for our education session of the day, which is 15 to 25 minutes with 15 as green, 20 as amber, and 25 as red, followed by 5 minutes FAQ and a small hands-on exercise on the evaluation. With this, ladies and gentlemen, let's join in and let's pay our attention to the educator of the day, Toastmaster Varun, who is the thought consultant and a motivational speaker. And today he is going to introduce us how to master effective evaluations in a Toastmaster or non-Toastmaster setting, how to make sure that your evaluations have context and are the right feedback for your speakers. And without stealing any of his thunder, let me welcome Toastmaster Varun with a thunderous applause on the stage of speakers and Toastmasters. Toastmaster Varun, over to you.
Thank you very much, Toastmaster Tanmay, for the wonderful introduction and for giving me an opportunity to address or to be in the den, the speaker's den. Before that, I think we didn't have the introduction of the guest. So, Srishti, are you able to introduce yourself? Okay, sure. Fine. So let me begin with my, let's call this a discussion on evaluation and not a one-way educational session. Please feel free to interrupt me if there are any doubts. So here it is. Now, your president has already said that it's on evaluation. But tell me honestly, do we evaluate or do we judge? And are they different or are they similar?
I think most of the time we judge, and they are absolutely different.
Okay. Oh, okay, fine. So your president says we judge. Well, we are humans at the end of the day, and we do judge. But in Toastmasters, the speeches and the general evaluator, we usually evaluate. And how is evaluation different from judgment? This is what judgment is. Judgment is an emotional comment which either encourages or prevents someone from continuing an act. So the last part is very important, prevent someone from continuing an act. Hold on to that thought, I'll tell you why that's important. Evaluation is always meant to encourage people to continue something, to continue giving a speech the next time, to continue taking up roles from, in the future meetings as well. So this is why, now I'm breaking this session into 3 aspects, like what is the essence of evaluation, and what are the things you need to observe even before you evaluate a speech, and finally how you build an evaluation. And I know that there are experienced members in this room, so if you have anything to add, please feel free to add, because at the end of the day we are all learning from one another. Now, to begin with the ethos of evaluation, I said that it is meant to encourage people to continue giving speeches. As an evaluator in Toastmaster, you should you should evaluate in such a way that the speaker gives the next speech and another and another. You're not evaluating the speaker or the person. Please remember, you are evaluating the speech. Why I say that is, I started off at a corporate club, and Speakers Den is a community club, right? All right. So I started off at a corporate club, and I was in Manyata, and I was also visiting a few clubs for experience. And I noticed at the very beginning that people were very cagey or very skeptical of giving critical evaluations to their managers or the HRs who hired them, right? So that is why I say, or they were probably taking more liberty of evaluating an analyst, a junior analyst, compared to a division head or a senior manager, right? So that is why I say you're not evaluating the person. If you don't like the attire the speaker is wearing, you tell him or her later that, look, it was casual. But you don't evaluate the entire speech saying, I don't like this person's attire, and you mark them down on every aspect. And most importantly, there are two elements required for a good evaluation, or I would say an empathetic evaluation. It is empathy and appreciation. I use empathy and not something like endearing or exaggerated, right? So there's a difference. A good speaker needs to be able to evaluate others fairly well to evaluate their own speech. Should I repeat? A good speaker will be able to evaluate their own speech very well if they are able to evaluate others, right? Because I've read in so many books, even the recent book that I'm reading, Psychology of Money, says that people give themselves more benefit of doubt compared to others. For example, if you are making an investment decision, I may criticize you saying that, how could you do it? You should know there should have been risks. Well, when I'm evaluating myself, I say, you know what, I considered every risk possible, but the market defeated me, right? So I'm not a big investor, but I'm just telling you that an evaluator is like an investor in Toastmasters, right? I'm not trying to be cute, because each and every evaluation in a speaker's journey will be the trust or invested by their successive evaluators. If one evaluator says, wow, it was great, and one evaluator says it was awful, that person will think, am I a speaker or a stock on the stock market? How can I appreciate and depreciate at to such extreme ends in 2 weeks or in a month, right? So with all that in mind, please remember, empathy and appreciation are the cornerstones of evaluation. Is it clear until now? Have I gone too fast? Any questions? Please feel free. Okay, now what is empathy? Every speaker, including world champion of public speaking, will have some challenges or obstacles even before they get to the stage or in the process of them writing the speech. Even people who enjoy time on the stage, there will be some challenge or the other. Maybe there will be a big assignment and they would have worked on weekends, or like Toastmaster Mansi said, they would have just landed, they would have just returned from the airport, or like Toastmaster Prajwala, they might be traveling entire weekend and still they might be writing the speech in the car, right? So for them showing up, we have to appreciate, because that is what Toastmasters teaches you, that you try, you don't back out, and you keep on trying. So as I said, you should empathize that yes, they have come here, they have come to the stage, they have qualified, right? And then like just you appreciate the Olympians who have just made the cut. No, forget getting to the finals of a track event, or getting onto the podium or winning a medal. Even making it to the Olympics or Asian Games or Commonwealth Games is a feat in itself. And I'm not exaggerating when I say a person coming to the stage or the screen in this case and attempting to give a speech is a feat in itself. So we have to empathize with that. The next part is appreciation. You should always find ways to appreciate. And this will encourage them to take the stage again. I know there are times when there'll be probably very little to appreciate, and it's from personal experience, but still you find it in them, because those are the people whom you want to make an impact on. Because Toastmasters' promise is to make better speakers and leaders. We may have great speakers amongst us. Now, is the objective achieved if you make a wonderful speaker a little more wonderful, or someone who doesn't have confidence to speak, just stand in front of the stage and speak? I consider the latter. It's similar to our tuitions, right? Like there would have been some 2-3 big tutorials in our cities, and people who score 85% or 90% only would be taken there. People who score 50% might not have got admission there. Now, what's the point? Those who get 90, you push them a little, they'll get 95%. But the real challenge is getting a student who gets 45-50% or probably doesn't clear in some exams. Getting them to take 60% is probably more challenging than the former. I don't know if you agree with me, but that is my belief. Now, why I stress on this note, Sanjay, may I please know the time taken so far? 10 minutes? Okay, great. So why I'm stressing on this is a very quick anecdote, because we deal in stories. I was taking pride that I'm a critical evaluator in the very first year of my Toastmasters journey. And one of my colleagues, she joined. I coaxed her because I was the BPM, right? And she joined, and then she gave her icebreaker. I mean, like it is 4 to 6 minutes, but she took 10 minutes, 11 minutes. And I was critical, and I said, you could have done this. You could have got it mentored. You could have, 11 minutes. I hope you can repeat the speech. When I said you can repeat the speech, yes. Now it is unheard of, but there were times when people were asking you to repeat the speech, and some people take it as a badge of honor. I don't know why, but some people take it as a badge of honor that they have repeated many speeches. Anyways, I asked her to repeat, and then she completely, lost interest. She didn't come, and that is one thing that reminds me before I give every evaluation. Varun, don't give that evaluation ever again. So that is why I say empathy and appreciation is very important. My intent was not to discourage her, but knowingly or unknowingly, I discouraged a member. And that is why I still try my best to add new members and new clubs. Anyways, now the factors to be considered while evaluating a speech. It can be the same when you are evaluating a table topic as well. Firstly, the speech in itself, the content. So what do you mean by content? Appropriateness to the occasion or audience, or rather the objective of the speech given in the pathways, and clarity of purpose. As you all know, Toastmasters has 3 to 4 varieties of speeches, right? Can I get someone to say those types of speeches? Yes. Inspirational. Next. I'm trying to persuade you. Persuasive. Motivational. And then you have humorous, etc. Right? So you should first identify the content and the clarity in that content. Then the delivery, like the grammar. I'm not talking about the word of the day, but the grammar in itself, because I feel that the grammar is the engine oil for the car, which is nothing but the speech. Now, usage of the language, right? In our old manual, we had something like, how do you say it? How do you enhance the speech using alliterations, triads, metaphors, personification, and everything else? How do you enhance it? And then the enthusiasm or involvement in a speech. I talk about my first foreign trip, and I say, my first foreign trip was in France, Paris, and I really enjoyed it. Can you believe that I enjoyed it? Right? Even when I went to my first Comic-Con, the person at the gate gave me the pass, tied the pass around my wrist and said, "Sir, please enjoy." I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I'll try my best to enjoy. And then there was a more senior volunteer who said, "Sir, please enjoy." And I said, "Yeah, sure, I'll enjoy." You see the way the messaging is put. So if you are not convinced, if the speaker is not convinced, how can you be convinced? And then the structure, right? We all know the common OBC, opening, body, and conclusion, how they flow into each other. They are not just put into boxes separate from each other. The opening should lead to the body should lead to the conclusion. That is how a speech flows. It's not compartmentalized. Then you talk about vocals, right? Now what I'm doing, all speak. So that is vocals. The clarity of the speech or the voice. So you may assume that maybe it doesn't happen in online, or maybe it happens more in online. It happens both offline and online. So yesterday I evaluated a speech. It was a good speech, good story, a good recall value indeed. But then, it was monotonous. Same volume. It shouldn't be like always too high or always too low, but there should be some inflections, right? So he said, he said something like, I was really dejected. And when he said dejected or when he said excited, it was the same volume. How does it happen? It is not natural. So those are the things that you need to focus on. And the vocal variety, like I said, the modulation, the inflection, and the speed. Initially, when I joined, I used to write 800, 850 word speeches for 7 minutes. It's possible. You can go on and you can complete the speech. I tell my mentees also the same. It's not a race. A speech is not about completing it within 7 minutes, 30 seconds. Your job is not done. Your job is done when your audience is actually receiving the message and is able to recall the message in the future. So the pace, the pauses are very important. The volume, as I already referred to. So the clarity of the speech, the vocal variety, and the volume. Please notice on the speech which is required, in which you are required to have vocal variety. That is a great project, and that is one of my favorite projects. Next is body language. Express with face and hands. Have you seen Italian movies? I wouldn't recommend that you become an Italian, because their body usage is as much as that much of their vocals, but it gives a picture. Even I was told once that I don't use the entire expanse of my hand, right? But in an online version, that is not relevant. And now I'm happy, I'm using only this much, right? So this is all the window allows me. And that is why I say, even when I'm giving evaluation, it should be relevant to the medium in which you are observing the speech. And then use of the stage, right? In the actual, this one, there's no point standing at the center. You're not in a symposium, with due respect. You're narrating a story. Every speech is a story. So you use the stage. But on the other hand, you don't do brisk walking. If you miss the morning walk or your time on the treadmill, please don't use the stage as a place to exercise. Exercise your mind and use the stage effectively. Like if you're having 2 anecdotes, talk to one section, stand on one side and then move to the other side when you come to the second anecdote, and then come back to the center, look at everyone, and then give your speech, conclude the speech. Now, I'm saying all this is what we need to observe as an evaluator, but I am talking in the viewpoint of a speaker myself. Next, eye contact. You don't have a staring match. Okay, now I'm looking at Sanjay. Next, I'm looking at Tanmay. Next, Toastmaster Mansi, Toastmaster Swati, Toastmaster Venkatesh. No, this is not a staring match. But just scope out the audience, and even in an online, you can just briefly look at people in one glance if you're in the gallery view. Next is essence of the speech. You need to focus on it through the speech, right? The originality of the idea. At least 70 to 75% should be original, and the rest 25% can be adopted, but it should be quoted as such. If it is not quoted, if a quote from a book, Ikigai or Psychology of Money, is taken and it is mentioned as their own, then you see that it doesn't seem right. And how do you judge? you get a sense. You get a sense because you would have seen so many speeches. Next, heart and the mind. This is what I call. The speaker should be convinced about it in his or her heart. As I said, if the speaker isn't convinced, the audience, and let alone the evaluator, the audience are not convinced, right? And then he or she must use their mind to knit the speech together, to weave it seamlessly. It should be like one garland, with one common thread and not flowers scattered here and there. And then finally, the message should reach the audience. Whether the message reaches the audience is one, and whether the audience are able to recall the message at a future date or when they are seeking inspiration for their own speech. That is the essence of a wonderfully crafted speech. Now, I hope I am meeting the objectives, Tanmay, because I see that probably Tanmay is a little nervous. Oh my God, I said, how do we craft an evaluation? But, how do we craft an evaluation there in the 5 minutes that we have in a contest, or probably 10 minutes that we have at a regular session? Because I don't think you'll be writing the evaluation even as the table topics are going on, right? Thank you, Sanjay. This is the last section. So how do you build an evaluation? Basically, if it's a contest, just for example, I am more of a marathon Toastmaster than a sprint Toastmaster. That is why I have not even applied for the TTM. Okay, it's been 7 years and I'm still looking to apply for a TTM. That's an aside. But what I'm telling you is that it's not just in terms of the contest, but even if you take a contest, you have a 7-minute speech where you need to observe the speaker. You can't just keep writing down, it's not an examination. And then you are given 5 minutes to put the evaluation together, right? And then you deliver a 3-minute evaluation. So how do you craft your evaluation around it? It can either be a free-flowing evaluation or a sandwich method. Harvard doesn't think sandwich method is a great evaluation tool, probably because it is diplomatic according to them. But let me tell you, we Toastmasters have been doing that sandwich kind of evaluation in the past 20 years or 22 years, I don't know. And probably if on a lighter note, if Toastmaster Chetana is giving a sandwich evaluation, she will say that Toastmaster Varun, it was a session with a lot of examples. And then improvements, she might say, yeah, you made me yawn a little, but still it was a decent effort, right? That's on a lighter note, Toastmaster Chetana, don't worry. I know it's a holiday, so you are permitted to yawn. So anyways, now what is sandwich, right? I am a vegetarian, so I will take veg stuffing as the example. So you have 2 slices of bread. There is veg stuffing, whatever, aloo tikki or whatever, that is in the middle. So you start off by giving an introduction. You address the audience and the speaker in particular. Always, Toastmaster Sanjay and Tanmay, I'll take 5 minutes extra if you don't mind. Always try to give a title for an evaluation. Right? So for example, why? Because that will ensure that your evaluation stands out from the rest of your peers or your competitors. So there was a speech in, set in a plane, for example, and your evaluation can be a wonderful Toastmaster flight. Or if, for example, Tanmay is giving, my evaluation is called Tanmay, my journey on Tanmay Airways, right? I'll tell you why, because that will ensure that people remember. And then you tell them how you are going to divide an evaluation. So you tell them that you have the positive areas of improvement and sum up. Now, for example, if you're calling the evaluation my journey on aboard Tanmay Airways, you can't say positives, areas of improvement, and the summation, right? Because if you remember, in a contest, an evaluation is also a speech. Of course, you don't focus fully on yourself. You focus on the speaker, but still an evaluation is a speech. And even in your club meetings, if you make your evaluation as a speech, it will also help the speaker because your evaluation will be concise. So how will you tell them that you will talk about positives, areas of improvement. You'll tell, I will divide it into 3 sections. The takeoff, where there was turbulence, and then the landing, right? So the takeoff is how it was, what are the positive areas. Turbulence is the areas of improvement where there was a little, you shuddered or there was a little jerk. And then the landing, how the speaker concluded. And then you start with the positives, right? I recently, at my club, I saw an evaluation that said, you know what, you did this, you could have done this better, you could have done this better. And then finally he said, but what a wonderful speech. Oh, what a phenomenal speech. Now, 2 things. As a human, you believe it, right? And the second thing is psychology, right? I'm thinking of writing something called Psychology of Speaker. I will reach out to all of you. But imagine I say, Tanmay, it was not a good time that you set up the meeting, man. It's Dasara and it's Sunday. And and then I say, but what an opportunity, man. I got to see 2-3 guests. I had a person who just landed in Bangalore. Tanmay will always be thinking, man, I'll not call this Varun again, at least in my term, because he told me that it was not scheduled at the right time. I'm giving an example because people first keep thinking, they keep obsessing about what didn't go right. And that is not right. You want to gain the confidence of the speaker. The speaker should listen to the next part of your evaluation. You can't lose him or her, right? So start with appreciation, but don't exaggerate. You say, it was the best speech I've ever seen in my 7 years experience. And then you say, I didn't see voice modulation. The grammar could have been better. So your credibility is already lost, and the speaker doesn't know whether it was the best speech or whether he or she needs to improve their grammar, right? And then areas of improvement. Please do not nitpick. And especially I've seen people telling, if they use maximum, one part of the stage more than the other, they will say, oh, you use 60% of this stage and 40% of this. We are not doing an estimation. Please don't nitpick, right? And sometimes in the flow, you may not, in an online meeting, you may not see everyone. Doesn't mean that, as I said, you need to look at every window. So don't nitpick at those, but be more qualitative. Be more qualitative when you say, hey, that message was good, but you didn't close that message properly. You didn't give a call for the call for action was not clear, right? That is what is called giving a qualitative evaluation. It is not about how you didn't look at every window. It's not about how much stage coverage you didn't do. It's not about why the top button was not buttoned, right? They are all nitpicking this one, and they will not help the speaker. Give tangible examples. As an evaluator, we help them how they can improve themselves for the next speech. It can be a contest or a non-contest speech, but that's our goal. The next speech they give should be at least 2% better. And that will be your contribution, 2% of improvement in their journey as a speaker. Finally, summarize. So these were the aspects, the takeoff, great body language, good vocal variety, good grammar. Areas of improvement, the message, the call for action could have been clearer with a better conclusion. And then with these things, the takeoff being right, if there is lesser turbulence in these aspects, then the landing would be perfect, and looking forward to the next speech. Thank you. And if you noticed, I said 3 positives and 1 or maximum 2 areas of improvement. Why? We are not doing an audit here, right? 0.0001 number missing, then you nitpick. No. Always you give more positives than areas of improvement, because you give them 1 or 2 aspects which they can realistically improve in the next speech. If you give them 10 things on the laundry list, probably they'll not be able to improve, and they'll only be obsessing about that. So that's about it. That is how you craft an evaluation. I'm sorry, Toastmaster Sanjay, I overshot. And if not a contest speech in a club, what do? You hand over the written evaluation or send the PDF, congratulate them again, and then offline, you call them, or if it's an in-person meeting, while you're grabbing a cup of tea, you tell them, look, Varun, this is where you could have done. I would prefer that if you dress informal, and then you stand and deliver. I, at least as an evaluator, want my speakers to stand and deliver, because that is how I do. That is how I deliver my speeches, and because that makes a great impact. And one last thing is that you give 2 areas of improvement, because you will be able to explain why you're telling that. It's not just saying that your conclusion didn't work. You tell them how they could have concluded better. And one request, please don't summarize to the speaker, in the sense, don't tell, hey, Varun, you said the line, variety is the spice of life. I would have liked it if you have said, variety is the spice of life. Man, you're not teaching me how I should deliver. My style is different compared to Tanmai's. My style is different compared to Mansi's or Swati's. So you're not training me how to speak. You're only giving an evaluation. It's your observation. It's not an expert opinion, right? It is your analysis. And with that, apologies once again, timer. Thank you for the wonderful job. I hope you learned or just observed how to craft an evaluation. Now, if there is time, I would love to hear from you. If no questions as well, I would love to hear your points on how you evaluate and what we can learn.
Thank you, Toastmaster Varun. I have one question. You mentioned that there should not be some people wear their speech, like redoing their speech again and again as a badge of honor. But like as an evaluator, do you think that we should also say to the speaker that you need to redo this if you're not met the objective?
So Tanmay, this is kind of, it's more about a person's personal belief, right? So there were times before pathways, and I sound old saying all that, but before pathways, there were these physical manuals, if you have seen, called competent communicator and competent leader, right? So then it was 10 speeches to get the competent communicator certificate, and people would take a lot of pride. But now what has happened is it's pathways, and we are in a hybrid mode, right? So you never know that day when the speaker is giving a speech, what their bandwidth might be, or what other things, that they are expecting. I wouldn't say that you be on another call when you're giving a speech or on a Toastmaster meeting, but maybe you are pushing it so close that your next meeting is about to start. So you may be distracted. In all those terms, it's not right to ask them to repeat it. Probably, that is what I said. You don't ask them to repeat it in your evaluation. Probably you go back to them offline and tell them, if you want, you can give the same speech at another club. So you're not asking them to repeat it per se, but you're telling them just go to another club and give it, so that their confidence is also restored.
I do have one question on similar line.
Yes.
So when a speaker goes to another club and gets a different feedback altogether, it's again a confusion in mind of the speaker, though the confidence level is always high. But then when we are pointing out some of the improvement areas, it might be taken as this is the improvement area for my speech. It might not be the case. So how should we deal with such speech? I mean, the speech is correct. There's something on a script is very right. But then the speaker comes back with the same feedback to another evaluator or the other feedback. Then how should the evaluator do it?
Yeah, thank you so much. I'll just say one line about my experience. When I was contesting earlier, I would always think that my speeches were always great and the judges were all kind of useless. Because that's what I would tell my that's what I would tell my mentor, Kavya, I don't think the judges know how to judge, because they don't know they didn't get my speech, basically. They didn't get my humor, or they didn't get my takeaways. But in all honesty, Toastmaster Mansi, now from an evaluator standpoint, as an evaluator, if you're giving an evaluation, with the intent to help them improve, whether the member is from Speaker's Den or an outsider resonance like me or anyone else, then we will not take it in any other way, right? It's all about scripting it with the intent to help them improve. Because initially I would do that. I would really go for a critical evaluation, and then I would say, hope I didn't intend to be too harsh. And then a senior Toastmaster came to me and said, did you mean to be harsh? I said, no, I didn't mean to be harsh. And he said, but you saying it is not convincing them. So you either drop, that level of criticism, or you don't say that, right? So it's either or, it's not both. They're not mutually exclusive. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, I've been in such situations. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I also had a question. So basically, like, it's about, so when, like say senior Toastmasters, they come on to these meetings, or like maybe sometimes the DTMs, they come on to the meetings, and when we are evaluating them, so I've seen, I'm not like pointing out at anybody specific, but
Sure.
when we evaluate them, then they sort of provide the justification also, like why they are doing what they did. So then in those cases, like, how do you ensure that, like, how do you evaluate them, right?
Okay, Sanjay, I'll talk to you offline who that Toastmaster is, because I'm quite a curious cat myself. Okay. On a more serious note, it happened in a contest. Okay, like a very big club, which has been here for years. Okay, more than 1,000 meetings. I won't give you any other hint. So a very senior Toastmaster, like one of the senior most in the district, was a test speaker for a evaluation contest, right? So you know how it works. They give a speech and then we evaluate their speech. And everyone, most of them said that, obviously the senior, probably he didn't know how to judge the angles and, the lighting, etc. And apart from that, the messaging also was not convincing. So even the newest of the Toastmasters noticed that really well. Credit to them. And then when the judges had gone for, the chief judge and the ballot master had gone for tabulation, the other judges will be there, right? So I was a judge. And then he was telling, but you know what? I think everyone is noticing that. I don't think that is the point. Like, my idea is, when you're reviewing a movie, can Karan Johar come back and tell, hey, Sanjay, that was not my intention. Why did you review the part which there was, where there was a plot hole, or where there was an obvious, big blunder made by the director or the actor, right? It is you are the reviewer. It is your observation. That is why I said it's not an expert opinion, but it's your observation. As a speaker, right? I'm a believer. It's okay if there are atheists here, but as a speaker, I take anything given by the evaluator as an offering. That's it. I don't question, of course. And another point, adding to Toastmaster Mansi's question, it's not that as a speaker, you need to take everything, right? That is why they say you take things with a pinch of salt, with some people with a bucket of salt, right? So some aspects may be too nitpicky, may be too critical, and you yourself know that that's your style. So why bother? If any such Toastmaster, and Sanjay, DTMs also have a TM in them. So they didn't start off, they didn't land in Toastmaster world as a distinguished Toastmaster. If you want to distinguish yourself, distinguish with your acts, right? Don't try to boss over anyone. But of course, I have utmost respect to the DTMs. I also want to be a DTM. But the thing is that you don't give a justification to anyone. If by chance they come and ask you, say, sir, that is my opinion. If you think that was uncharitable, then please, you feel free to not take it. That's it. I hope I've answered it. These things are very close to me because I had also been in a meeting of a club which was like very new, which was a fledgling club, and I was one of the mentors. I was not there that day, and it seems the senior Toastmaster came and said, "You guys are not giving enough time for the general evaluator to do the evaluation. That given 10 minutes, he should have done it in 10 minutes, but he wanted 25 minutes because he was a distinguished Toastmaster." So We are all members. We all do our roles as per what is required.
Thank you, Toastmaster Varun. I have a question. I might sound silly also, but in Toastmaster...
You can't sound sillier than me.
In Toastmaster journey, we are encouraged to take roles, right? So I keep on trying to take different roles, but sometimes taking the role of evaluator, I think I don't think that I'm fit for that role, or will I evaluate in a better way or not? Am I still up to the mark to evaluate someone? So how do we, what are the top 3 points we should know before evaluating someone, right?
That's a very good question. In fact, thanks for that, because I want to say that, and please remember this until you're in your Toastmasters and even after, right? You can evaluate any speech regardless of what level you are at or how much time you have spent at Toastmasters. Please remember that. I don't know how long you have spent, but if you have spent less than 6 months and a DTM who has spent 15 years is giving a speech, you can still evaluate, provided you use all those elements to evaluate a speech. There is no qualification for being an evaluator. There is a qualifier for probably participating in the contest, but there is no qualification for being an evaluator, because for being a good evaluator, you need to be a good observer. You need to empathize with the speaker, give them a benefit of doubt. You need to be able to appreciate, right? And you need to be able to summarize everything, put them together neatly, as I said, string it like a garland, and give the evaluation in 3 minutes. I wouldn't say 3.5 minutes. Give it in 3 minutes, 3 minutes, 15 seconds tops. These are the requirements. Observe, give helpful evaluation, appreciate where required, empathize, and then finally summarize, so that the next time, the same member should come and say, if they are giving a speech at Speakers Den, I would want to hear an evaluation from Swati. Or they should recommend to their club member saying that if you're going to Speakers Den, seek evaluation from Swati, because it is very constructive, right? And appreciative or helpful evaluation doesn't mean that you exaggerate. You should never exaggerate, but it should help them become at least 2% better than their previous speech. Hope I've answered your question.
Okay. I guess that answers everyone's question. So before we move on to the next section, we do have a small activity that we have planned. So let me share my screen, and just give me a second. Share for the price.
So I'll just close it, Tanmay. Thank you all for this opportunity, and Tanmay, feel free to share my contact, and
sure thing.
We would be happy to guide. Thank you once again for the opportunity.
Sure thing. So now what we are going to do, we are going to go over a speech, and this is going to be a 5 to 7 minute speech. And I would request all of you to evaluate the speech during while this video is being played, and then provide an evaluation in a 1 to 2 minute time frame as used for a general evaluation section. Your evaluation would be evaluated by Toastmaster Varun, and to make sure that everyone gets included, I would be timing the evaluations for this session. So Sanjay, please feel free to get involved in the activity as well. Now, everyone get ready. Have your pens and papers with you. I would be skipping the evaluation part right now because I would be moderating it. So yeah. All right, so I will start this and let me know if you can hear the audio as well.
Contestant 6, Shanko De.
Is audio working for everyone? All right.
Yes.
So I'm going to play this now, and as soon as Sankhya appears on the stage, you can start your evaluation. Go for it.
The whistle, Shanko De, contestant 6.
A single football match in Kolkata changed my life. I was in class 8 and a member of the school football team with jersey number 5. It was an inter-school football competition. Last minute of the match, I was in the center forward. We were losing by 1-0. With a ray of hope, we were running fast towards the goalpost. This was our last chance to qualify for semi-finals. We could not afford to miss out this goal. I could hear the delay on the loudspeaker. Just number 8 passed the ball to Jersey 10. Jersey 10 dribbled the ball and kicked it above the head of the oncoming defender. It landed with Jersey 5. That's me. With no striker in front, Jersey 5 is taking the shot. The goalkeeper is approaching. Jersey 5 dribbles the ball. This is the moment. The goalpost is empty. Jersey 5 gets hurt. It's a clear goal. Oh, well. The ball went above the goalpost. What a disaster! The referee sounded the whistle. Game ends. We lost. I fall back on the goalpost. All eyes staring at me. I felt I had committed a heinous crime with all the bullets coming up to me like sharp arrows. Hey, who the hell has taken him in the team? Man, he can't even kick a ball. I'll make sure he don't come in the team anymore. Tears rolled down my face. A 13-year-old boy carrying the shame of letting the team down. At that moment, I thought, I will not play football anymore in the life. And let go of my passion with a heavy heart. Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, humans are social beings. And many of the choices we make in our lives happens in social context, with friends, family, and neighbors judging our decisions. Do you remember the last time you dreamt of the passion but couldn't achieve it due to other priorities set by the society? When I was in school, society told me, hey, after you finish school, your whole life is settled. Now go and study hard. After school got over, society told me, bro, we need to go to the best college, bro. And our life is settled, bro. We will rock, man. We will rock. Woo-hoo! After college got over, society again told me, have you done your MBA? Say, Sharmaji sir, already completed it. I said, okay, let's do that too. Now, among all these things, society never says, follow your passion. And after following what society says, we grow up getting older and older and older and got busy with the next set of priorities in life. In the 19th century, George Eliot, a novelist and a poet, once said, it's never too late to follow your passion. So after crossing 4 decades of my life, when society is again telling me, "Eyes up, now that you have a job and a family, start working on your retirement." And your life is settled. I thought, for the first time, let me apply the principle of CTC. Cut the crap. And march forward into an unknown territory of FNP. Follow your passion. Because if not now, then when? As I was journeying forward into that unknown destination, I saw a dish waiting to be served to me, cooked with uncooked and half-baked stress, multiple colors of rejections, and garnished with finely chopped disappointments. But along with it, I also saw a dessert marked with special moments which gave me the confidence. I wrote this in a paper. Oh, white paper of my mind and etched the word special moments, folded it, and kept it close to my heart as I journeyed through my passion. Step one! The first appreciation I got in the first Toastmasters meeting was a special moment, as that gave me the confidence to come and speak in the public platform. Step two! A year later, I performed in my first theater. After months of grueling rehearsals and traveling in Bangalore traffic for 3 hours, from Kerala to Electronic City, that too after completing Toastmasters meeting for 2 hours every weekend. Just before the show, I got to see my name published in the newspaper for the first time. I kept this special moment very close to my heart. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not the end of the journey. What's important is perseverance. Because if we continue and if we don't apply to pursue our journey, then the small special moments which happen in our life will simply vanish as time passes by. And our mind will be drawn to business and business and business with the thought that something could have been done that day, but I didn't act. Life is like playing football. The goalpost, the red and yellow card, the speed, the tactics, everything represents various aspects of life. That day, when I was on the verge of quitting my passion for football, my coach came up to me and said, "It's okay to fail, Shampoo. Forget what will people think. What's important is your dedication to your dream, and never forget that till you hear the whistle of your life." Thanks.
This with this, let's take 2 minutes to write the evaluation. And Varun, what do you say? Generally, in evaluation contest, we move all the value to a breakout room. But since we are doing it as a hands-on activity, do you want everyone to move to a breakout room, or everyone can stay here and go about their evaluations?
No, sure, everyone can stay because they'll get the benefit of
Sure.
seeing how others have observed.
Sure. So everyone, let's take 2 minutes. Next 1 minute, 30 seconds, we will start the evaluation. All right, the time is up, and now we are going to go about evaluation. May I request the first person to come forward? Anyone who would like to go first?
I can go, Tanmay.
Sure, Pai.
I think it was a really good speech in terms of, there was voice modulation, there was a bit of humor, the audience were enjoying the speech. It was, the gestures were there. In terms of, I think the audience awareness, he was really comfortable on the stage, way he was moving around, way he was modulating his voice, sometimes changing his voice. So it was really good in those terms. I think in terms of improvement, I would say that it was too fast, I felt. It was so fast that I could not really pick up the main message. Okay, that was one. Second thing was, maybe this may be due to the YouTube audio which we were playing. The message, I was not able to connect the parts. Like he was talking about football, the human emotions involved, then the passion of what you want to do in life. I think what was the main message he wanted to drive? Was it the what is the passion, that you have to follow your passion, or you have to you have to control your emotions, or was it like football? It may be due to YouTube, so I wouldn't say it as improvement, but yes, this is my overall feedback. I think in general it was a really good speech where he was connecting with the audience. Yeah, thank you.
Can I
So,
connect?
sure. So let's do one by one. So Toastmaster Pi took 1 minute 22 seconds for the evaluation, and as a timer's perspective, you have not met the criteria because it's 2 to 3 minutes with 30 seconds grace. So it could be it should be minimum 1 minute 30 seconds and maximum 3 minutes 30 seconds.
Okay, got it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the advantage or disadvantage of going first, I would say.
So I will give the timings immediately after your evaluation, and then we can get a collective evaluation from Toastmaster at the end. Swati, you are next.
Yeah, thank you, Toastmaster Tanmay. So I found the speech was really good because the body language of Toastmaster Shankya was too good. He was expressing everything, every part of the speech with a different voice modulation. He was using the props very nicely and very comfortably. He was using the entire stage in part by part of his speeches, right? So for every part, he was using a different section of the stage, which was taking the attention of the audience. And for the props usage also, he was trying to use a different prop for every section that he was trying to emphasize, right? And coming on to the content of the speech, it was good, but it was good. And he has used many good quotes like, it's never too late to follow your passion. Perseverance is the key, right? And it's okay to fail. So those were the better parts that I felt I was attached to those sections of the speech. And in terms of areas of improvement, uh, as Toastmaster Sai told, like I also felt that it was kind of running, the speech was running, so I was not able to follow some of the sentences that he was trying to, like some part of the speech that he was trying to speak, right? Because the pace of the speech was too fast. Second thing is, sometimes the voice modulation was actually too good, but sometimes the voice modulation should have gone better. Like it's okay, like we could have said, like it's never too late to follow your passion, like that. So that's what I felt, and that's what is my feedback.
Thank you, Toastmaster Swati. You took 1 minute 44 seconds for the evaluation. Moving on to the next evaluator, may I request Toastmaster Mansi?
Sure, sir. So I would like to evaluate the speech, putting it in sections where I speak about what it was excelled in, I mean, what the speech had a message as, and what were the low points or the gray areas which can be improved. So first thing, I'll start with E part of the Excel, which is easy to connect with the audience. So we can see the speaker himself is using the whole stage, the body gestures, and trying to convey the message. And what I found was the message as well as the storytelling part was very well conversed with the audience, understood by the people. All which I notice is the pace, which also we can say as a good passion of the speaker. So that's the E part, easy to connect with the audience. X part is extremely passionate speaker with a good voice modulation, energy flow, as well as good messages and quotes with a style of storytelling in it. The third part is I would like to come with the C part. I would like to compliment by saying that it's a very good speech in aspect of speech writing, When we come at storytelling, there were very good examples of how MBA person should actually start with a passion of football match, then come to MBA, and then come to how people say about you should plan your retirement once you are at a stage in life where you've settled and all these stories. So it was very well modulated in a whole script, very well structured script. So that's a compliment from an evaluator side. Then I'll come to the E part, which is again, I would say you excelled at not writing as well as speaking a good grammar. Good grammar is something when we have heavy usages in it, which is not there. It's very simple script, very simple word usages, all those which can be understood by a layman. Now, some of the low points or the gray areas, the stories were too much haphazard. I mean, it's jumping from one story to another. You start with one story as a football match, then somewhere the message is lost. Then you jump to a story which is an MBA guy, and then you jump to a story where it is a football match. Then it starts with how should I plan my retirement, and the whole message or the theme is lost somewhere. Then again, I would also like to say this is something which can be improved as a speaker. You can also use your body language to convey a football match, what's happening in the match, rather than what you're feeling as a person. So that's another way of how to tell a story through your body language. You've been using the body language, but the gestures weren't that appropriate as an audience should feel what's happening in the match, rather what's happening to you. So this is something which can be improved. But overall, very well and a good structured speech and a good attempt. Thank you. Over to you, Toastmaster Tanmay.
Thank you. Your timings are 3 minutes 2 seconds. Next, can I have Toastmaster Sanjay?
Yeah. So I think like a speech like went quite well, and it's very important for a speech to be engaging. And I think like there are a lot of elements in the entire speech which are quite engaging, and that is what helps a speaker to connect and understand like what the speaker is saying, right? And some of the good things specifically I I want to highlight is basically energy. The energy was really good, and it kind of people who are like sitting at the back or like whosoever seeing, if they see people with high energy, they also kind of become awake and they start paying more attention. So I think that was very good, and good usage of space where like he was moving around and sort of making the gestures, and he's using the entire space. So I think that was good, so that people can kind of keep paying attention, and they're not like feeling bored by looking at person which is standing in one place. I think that was very good. And the props that he had used, right, like the paper that he like torn later on, right, or the whistle. I think like he really used the props well, and which kind of helped in like making the storytelling much more powerful, easy to visualize, so that somebody can take away a lot of like points from the speech. And a good amount of humor, definitely. And that kind of help people kind of engaged and like not feeling sleepy or bored. And now coming to the points where improvement can happen. So like it was too fast, and like Varun said in the beginning that it should be like a takeoff, then like turbulence, and then landing. So I kind of feel that in the speech it was like directly it was like flying too high. It started a very too high note. It was a lot of being a bit of a surprise for me, a bit of a shock also, when somebody is seeing you for the first time, and when we are looking at speeches, you're expecting like, okay, a little bit of introduction about like what the speech is going to be about, and then we take off. It was like starting out too high note, which was a bit of a shock for me to to be able to connect quickly with the person. And yeah, like it was a bit too fast, and I was not able to, because there were a lot of emotions, a lot of usage of props and all that. So I was paying attention to those things, and I was not able to pay attention because of the speed also to the message, the content of the speech. And yeah, and like mimicking kind of helps, but I feel that okay, maybe like you are a different person. If you sort of convey your story that ways, that might like people might connect, but that's my personal opinion. And I felt like overall though it was a good speech, but I felt like it was too much of a drama also that was there. So sometimes it helps, but if it is entirely like too much of emotions, too much of drama, then it kind of takes you away from a serious note that you are sitting here to kind of get some messages. So which I felt like could have been done better. But overall, like I thoroughly enjoyed the speech. It was very engaging, and like a lot of anecdotes which were shared in the this thing, which would help me like remember the entire speech. So yeah, that is it from my side. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Sanjay. Your time is 3 minutes 19 seconds. My apologies for not changing the background time. There was some technical challenge. May I request Venkatesh next? Sanjay, can you please time Venkatesh? I have someone at the door actually.
Am I audible, sir? It
Yes,
was
it is audible.
from my point of view, it was a good structured speech, use of material things like I have seen vessels and use of effective use of spectacles also. And the speech was based on live-based situations. I can see him here very well and good set of facial expressions and hand gesture also. And his vocal variety was very nice. And I also feel how he engages audience. The audience also like felt like in that situation only. And from my side, recommendation is that sometimes he was very fast while modulating or while modulating, like when you want to praise that message that the audience may not clear here. I can say he was little fast in that sense. And the second thing I want to recommend is that while he was moving very fast on the stage to and fro. And the third one is while you want to praise so much, like he is arousing people to go for a war. Thank you from my side point of view. Thank you, everyone.
So yeah, you took like 1 minute 39 seconds.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
I think Chetna is the only one left now. Chetna?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, over to you.
Mm. From my point of view, I found this speech really wonderful. And, the main important aspect of a speech is that it has to satisfy the audience and engage the audience. That part was met in this particular speech. And also coming to the structure of the speech, it was done, it was structured well and in an understandable manner. Ultimately, the audience need to get the message from the speech given by the speaker. So what I found in the speech was it could be understood by the audience, and the audience had understood the ultimate message what he had to deliver through the real life example. The examples taken from the real life and also the instances from his own real life. So that was something I found good about the speech. And also in terms of vocal variety and voice modulation also, I found that his speech was really good. And there was gestures. There was gestures and everything which made the speech really effective. And coming back to that feedback, I found sometimes that the speech was, the really fast-paced. I found that, in some places of the speech, not the whole speech, in some parts that the pace of the speech was really fast. And also I found that he was jumping from one story to another, which would, which would confuse the audience. What is the actual message of that whole speech? That's all from my end. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chetna. Sanjay, what was the time for
It
Chetna?
was 1 minute 44 seconds.
1 minute 44 seconds. So all the evaluators did well with the timing. And Toastmaster Prize, since it was his first evaluation, so he took 1 minute 22 seconds. Now I request Toastmaster Varun to please provide a general evaluation of this section.
Thank you, Toastmaster Tanmay. I'll quickly go over what are the positives that were captured by all the speakers, and then what are the areas of improvement in general, according to me. I'm really glad to say that everyone captured most of the points that was on my mind as well, as an introduction or as a positive aspect. So your observation on, and this is for the room in general, observation on message being incomplete, that was like, sorry, let me get to the positives. You collected the quotes and you spoke about the clarity, the engagement aspect of the audience. Some of you gave very uplifting and encouraging evaluation, the way it was structured. Tanmay, I hope you can share the, not just for contest point of view, but the evaluation ballot, if it is shared. The first point I as a judge mark is whether it was uplifting or encouraging, right? That is given some marks on the ballot. So that is what you need to do. I really liked the way some of you really structured it in an uplifting manner. And some of you started off in a very encouraging manner. You also discussed the props, the body language, the vocal variety, the adequate movement on the stage, and the fact that it was engaging, the real life anecdotes used, etc. Now, when it comes to areas of improvement, some of you can work on constructing it better. Like I said, a story, constructing it, not just a PowerPoint, right? It's not like, okay, what are the positives? What are the areas of improvement? Construct it like a story so that it is retained longer by the speaker and the audience. And some of you can give a more qualitative evaluation. That is what I said, be it in a contest or in a club meeting. Evaluations that actually make a solid impact are the qualitative evaluations, not just the usage of stage, etc., which also matter, but more on qualitative. Like, so how some of you observed how the messaging was haphazard. Like too many things were being told. Even I was wondering, what is the takeaway? Is it like you should pursue your passion, or you should not let age interfere, right? So very nice to see that you all captured, some of the gray areas. And it's obvious who said it, but you gave a title for that, right? EECG. That is very good. That is very good practice. And I think I observed that some of you commented or observed on the style of the speaker, right? So as I said in my earlier session, the style is completely individualistic. You can have one speaker taking off, you can have one speaker starting midair, right? Some it's a flight, for some it's a skydiving experience, their speaking style. So you need not talk about the style, because style is individualistic. What in their style didn't help you is what you can rather comment on. And last but not the least, everyone spoke about the pace being too much, going between the messages. But one thing, was there enough strength in the anecdote, right? Not doing well in a unit test, not winning a local football match. Does that really make such an impact on a person? I mean, again, it's me, right? Probably if you're a passionate footballer, that match alone may matter a lot. But what is the strength of the anecdote? As they say, does it hold enough water to inspire the audience or to motivate the audience? And another thing is, my last point is, and this is only when you are judging or evaluating an inspirational speech, right? What was the pain point? Was it painful enough for a person to tide over it, come back, like take it as a motivation, take it as a challenge, and then triumph, right? Of course, in a humorous speech, you don't need a message. You absolutely don't need a message. It can be a laughter riot, right? In a tall tale, it need not be a message. But in an inspirational or a motivational speech, please observe, does the anecdote, whether it's a football match or conversation with the friends, does it hold enough water, or is it too feeble? I'm sorry to say this is like my personal observation. It's nothing to do on the district or the judges, but in the last 2 years, one of the top 3 speeches that I saw is that in the school, something didn't go right in my cultural contest, and I took it as a challenge. For me, it didn't hold enough water, but probably for the judges, it did. Probably for the other audience, it did. So please observe as an evaluator, if the messaging is genuine, right? It is heartfelt. And then the pain is so much that you relate to it. And then you do want that person to succeed, right? Like in a movie, we are willing the protagonist to do well. The protagonist not to, fall prey to the villain, or fall prey to the difficulties. So is that speaker making you think that way? Is the speaker making you go from a state of exasperation, of disappointment, to the ultimate joy that he or she has won it? Will you win along with them? That is what will help you become an observant evaluator, especially in inspirational and motivational speeches. That's it. Thank you once again. One feedback that I have taken is I need to stick to the time. But yeah, I thought since I have to try to give as much message to you, this is me. Thank you, everyone. All the best, and I'm really looking forward to seeing all of you participate in evaluation contests, in ISCs that are coming up. All the best, and congratulations to Speakers 10 for completing 10 years. And I also want to thank Toastmaster Sakshi, who gave this, gave my contact to Toastmaster Tanmay. And thank you, of course, Toastmaster Tanmay and the entire club for giving me this opportunity and for being with me all this while. Thank you very much.
Varun, I had a small doubt.
Please.
Can I ask Tanmay? Is it
Sure,
okay?
sure. Please go ahead.
So Varun, is it the anecdote you pick based on what your audience will connect, or is it the anecdote which your personal life, you're connecting with? Because, for example, I can imagine Shanko is more from Bengal, so he connects more with football. So, but the same audience may not connect with the football. So how do you pick an anecdote? Do you pick it based on your experience, which will make it, more authentic? Or from the audience perspective, then you are not able to connect when you are speaking?
No, of course. As I said, right, picking the anecdotes and everything, it's completely the choice of the speaker, right? And also, I do follow football. That's not the reason. But my point is not about the anecdote per se, but how much the anecdote holds water in terms of the low point that the speaker goes, which becomes a teachable moment for not just him or her, but for all of us. And then how he or she goes from that, if you get that crest and the trough, right, that we learned in our physics. So how he goes from the trough, from the bottom, and goes to the top of the wave. That is what matters. So again, it's fully the choice of the speaker. And Toastmaster 5, it is very important as a speaker that you choose anecdotes that appeal to you, and as much as possible genuine, with very little masala, right? There will be some masala in all our speeches, but it should be very subtle. It should be like the simple salt in the authentic Chinese food, and not the heavy soya sauce and Ajinomoto that we add in Indian Chinese food. Me being a foodie, I thought that balance will appeal to all. I hope I answered your question.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Before we move to the next session, I have a small poll that I'm going to launch on the Zoom screen. I hope it's visible to all of you. So please take a minute to vote for this session. This is more for a feedback for the educator as well as for our club, to make sure that we conduct relevant sessions going forward as well. Is it visible to all? All right. Has everyone voted? Sorry.
Yes.
All right. I am going to end the poll in next 6 seconds. 5, 4. All right. Yeah. So what results are as it's visible on the screen. Session is relevant. There were 50-50 votes on 4 and 5 scale. Educator approach session is also voted 3, 4, 5, which is better than average. There are 2 votes on 3, 2 votes on 4, and 2 votes on 5. And how this education would help you with the Toastmaster journey. There are responses somewhat on 1 on 6, and 5 responses are on helpful and extremely helpful. I would like to have more session in the future. There is a yes and there is 1 no. There are 5 yes and 1 no. So whoever voted no, please feel free to connect with me offline so we can make sure that we make more relevant sessions. Like what would be relevant for the group, for the for as a collective group, so we can make relevant sessions as well. All right. Okay, moving on with the flow of the meeting. Let me invite you someone who is, we are going to have the table topics next. And our table topic master is none other than someone who has traveled far to attend this meeting online in Bangalore. So that's the irony of it. And she is the newest member of the DAN, a very dynamic personality, the winner of Young Women Icon Awards in 2021 and 2022. Apologies if I mixed up the awards, but she is someone who always inspires me and is one of the rarest person who can make me shut my mouth. With this, I give the stage to Toastmaster Mansi.
I need to meet you for this introduction then.
I'm scared.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not giving you my address now.
So today I'm going to play a role of table topic master, and the whole intent is everyone to speak up for 1 to 2 minutes, and Toastmaster Sanjay is going to help me for 1 to 2 minutes as a timer. I call this as a game of elicit yourself. And the first topic would go, somebody would like to volunteer first. Tell me. Just raise hand. We have only 8. I see the Toastmaster Sanjay, your hand is always raised. Is it you who wants to volunteer?
It is for a Zoom bug,
Yeah.
actually.
You want to
But
go
I
first?
can raise my hand if required.
Okay. So Tanmay.
Yeah.
Freedom of speech. Is it a boon or a boon to a country?
Freedom of speech. If anyone of you is following the news for the last few months, you have seen that there is always a hue and cry when there is something about freedom of speech. Because what was meant as a fundamental instrument for the citizens of India turned out to be something for the personal gain of politicians and, let me be accurate, corrupt politicians. Everyone wants to give them the freedom when it is something that is benefiting them. For example, I can ask the other person shut up just because I do not care about their opinion. But when it comes to my agenda, my propaganda, I want that freedom of speech. We have seen the news repeatedly that someone speaks something and there's a lot of hue and cry. We talk about tolerance, intolerance. We talk about someone's right to stay in a place or not. And we tell them, we tag them with certain adjectives. But is it not just a freedom of speech in the end? However, if you look at the other point of view of the same freedom of speech, using this freedom of speech, people are spewing poison in our ecosystem of our country. They are polluting our country's mindset like we are polluting our holy rivers of Ganga and Yamuna. The Delhi people can relate. So what is it? Is it a boon or a bane? Just like anything else, it is nothing. It is how you use it, how the community uses it, and how we perceive it. Because everything that is present around us, around everything, we have a quote in Sanskrit which says Ati Sarvatra Varjate. That means excessive use, or let me say excessive misuse of anything is harmful. So give it a thought yourself. What is it? What is freedom of speech? Is it a friend or a foe? Over to you, Toastmaster Mansi.
Thanks a lot, and that with due respect, I do understand, and I mean, give it a point that I'll give it a thought actually, the way you formulated the whole speech. Okay. So next topic goes to any volunteer? Yeah, please. If your wife ran away with your friend, what is the first thing you will do?
Okay. What is the first thing you would do? Okay. Thank you, Toastmaster Mansi, for that wonderful topic. Firstly, I would be really happy that I had a wife in the first place, because I'm still a bachelor. So I think that is what some of my married friends say, that Varun, it's good you're single, because there's a saying in Kannada which says, people who are in water are waiting to get out of water, and people who are on the shore are waiting to get back in. And my friends say that it's good that you're not married. You have the freedom. You can plan your weekend however you want. And then, yes, exactly, grass is always greener. But my point is, whom do I have to plan it with? Like, at least I had a wife. But yeah, coming seriously to the topic, if my wife, eloped with my friend, firstly, I would doubt if he was actually my friend in the first place. And then I would try to find out who that friend was. And then I would see what made her run away with him, elope with him. Because probably was it his finances, was it his charm, or probably they connected together. And if if she has eloped, that means both of us have suffered. Then I would actually be grateful that now, with all due respect to my wife, who doesn't exist now, I'm grateful that now my headache is his headache. And then, as they say, I'm once again a freelancer in the world of love. And I will once again go ahead and pursue my interest, but this time much wiser, with all the lessons learned from my first wife. And I recently rewatched a show called Decoupled. It's all about a couple separating respectfully. And I would, in Madhavan's inimitable style, go meet my friend over a drink and say, "Congratulations, buddy. Now my headache is your headache. Live well and prosper." Thank you so much for that wonderful, innovative topic, Toastmaster Mansi.
Thanks a lot. I hope you have many wives but less headaches. Let's come to the next. Yeah. You want to say something?
I just want to say one is enough. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So next topic, any volunteer? No one. Okay, then Chetna.
Yeah, sure.
Is reward worth a risk? That's your topic. Is reward worth a risk?
Reward worth the risk. Yeah, it depends. Is reward worth the risk? It depends on the reward, what reward you're getting and for what task you're doing. Because some people, they do some, they do some tasks which don't benefit others, and it's not good. It's not, good in their own interest itself. So such, getting a reward after doing something which is, harmful to you and the society, I feel it's not worth the risk. But if you're trying to do something which is, benefiting others and trying to benefit by trying to do something good for benefiting others, you're trying to benefit from your own self as well. Because, when you help others grow, you grow in your own ways. So if you ask me about the reward part, I say you should not bother. And when you're doing anything in the benefit of others and yourself, you should not bother about the reward. You have to just do, you have to just do your best in whatever task you're good at. And, you should see in which way is it benefiting the people around me? How can I really benefit others? And you should never bother about the reward. Reward comes later. That, in my opinion. Thank you. That's all.
Thanks a lot, Chetna. And now, do we have time for other table topics?
Sure, Mansi.
Okay. So, if your friend, I have a topic, I want somebody to volunteer. I've not spoken about the whole topic. If your friend, who's my friend?
Sanjay, your hand is raised.
Quick. If not, then Venkatesh Kumar.
Yes, ma'am.
If your friend spoke to you in exact same way as you speak to yourself, what will be the conversation?
Thank you, ma'am, for such a wonderful topic. It reminds me of when I was having a football match with our friend. In my real life, I usually don't get angry easily, but when it comes in sports, I will get angry very easily and very fast. And one of my best friend, he's my best friend also, and he also tells whatever thinks of me, and I also tells about him. And when at that moment he was in opposite team, so I was very, in football match I was very desperate to win the match. When I was in playing situation, I always try to win the match in a peaceful manner. So what went wrong that time? No, I kicked the football, and bit and the ball touches my friend's body and it went off. So in football rules, it said we have to I have to take a corner. What he did was, no, he takes the ball and he has started the match, and this gets me violent angry. So what I said, no, I expressed my views little softly, and I take the football and I started playing. But I did not talk him for 2 to 3 days. But after few few days, we have a picnic, and he comes to me and said sorry for that event, and then again we became close friends. Thank you, ma'am. Over to you.
Thank you. What a lovely way you speak to your friend. I mean, I would like to be yours too. I think we're done with 5 topics. Do we need more? We are already on time, 15 minutes to go. Yeah, there is one person who still wants to speak. Okay. So I have the last topic, which says...
I wanted
yeah.
to take the last topic, but I said, the moment you said, if you're a friend, I was like, no, I won't take this.
Okay. Then your topic is a surprise. Okay. The topic says, Swadeshi or Videshi? What is good for India?
Okay. I was a guy who always believed I'm a Swadeshi. I wanted to take, use Indian brands. I wanted to, always drive an Indian car. But then I realized, the quality, I'm sorry if it offends somebody, if it offends all of you who are like really patriotic, but the moment I saw the quality of things, right, of Indian made, it's not so great, right? And the moment I went to US and I saw the quality of the cars, and I'll give you a short example. My MD owns a Mercedes Benz, okay? And the Mercedes Benz he owns, right, is a C-Class, which is, recently they started making in India. I sat on his car. He told me, let's ride to this place. I said, okay, fine. And I sat in that car, and believe me, it didn't feel like a Mercedes. The plastic quality was bad. The seats were not so up to the mark. And then I realized, oh, sir, there's something different about this car. And he was like going on and on. Do you know Mercedes is now started to make in India? And then I realized, it's a Swadeshi. So then I realized, okay, now by heart, I'm a Swadeshi, yes. But by my mind, I'm a Videshi, because I can really find out the facts from, the feelings. So if I go by my feelings, yes, I want to go by what our Prime Minister is saying. Hey, use Indian products. Hey, make in India, great. Yay, I would be in the rallies. But then while I'm buying stuff, I would buy a Volkswagen. Recently, I bought a Volkswagen. I was like, yeah, I will go with a Videshi. I don't want a Maruti, or I don't want anything to do with an Indian product. So I think a lot of things, this boils down to what you want in life. If you really want to follow what you really believe in, it's very tough. But again, if you are really patriotic, go Swadeshi, more power to you. But the facts are facts. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Pi. I guess that's the right name, or you blocked in as I call you Pi? Sure. Okay.
Yeah, I'm called Pi. Yeah.
Okay. Over to you, Toastmaster Tanmay. We're done with the table topic session.
Thank you, Toastmaster Mansi, for having this wonderful table topic session. By making someone run away, someone's wife run away with their friend, and to make a choice of non-cooperation and Swadeshi movement on this day of 2nd October, a most relevant day for such a topic. And thank you very much for conducting this even while immediately after traveling. So a big kudos to you, and a big round of applause for Toastmaster Mansi. Now we are in the last leg of our Toastmaster session. Although this was not a typical Toastmaster meeting where we had 3 sections, we had an education and table topic session. So now I am opening this session for any feedbacks from all of you. If you have anything for the educator or for today's session, or what would you expect from the sessions going forward, please feel free to unmute and voice your opinion. Over to you, all of you. It's also all right if you don't want to address this right now. You can always we can always connect offline, and we can discuss this in detail, like how should our sessions be going forward. And on that note, let me remind you our next session, which is on 10th, which is again 9th of October, is going to be hybrid from our offline location Beehive in Dranagar. So this is the end of meeting number 298. I'm going to stop the recording, and let me close this meeting with a bang of my coffee mug again. So thank you, everyone. Let me stop the recording now.